Hello there and welcome to round 2 of Champions of the Future. Well, this is the first time in our 5-year history of champs that we're visiting Whilton Mill Kart Circuit in Northamptonshire in England. So before we get to any of that wheel-to-wheel excitement, let's get a few track facts.
It's fun to drive, but it's hard to overtake.
It's a pretty quick circuit.
The first 2 corners, the long sweepers, they're good for overtaking.
I get mega run up the back straight and into the fast right.
Going up the hill, you turn right, that's a good overtaking place.
Then you go around to a top corner, that's very tight.
Then there's these S's, very slippy, very tight.
It's called the boot. When it's dry, it's really hard because the cart keeps hopping and skipping like up on 2 wheels.
You've got to brake early and get the power through the corner, or you just go away, get it right, you can do a fork at the end of the straight, you can pass them.
So a big thumbs up from all our competitors here today, irregardless of the weather conditions. Now they've got to do it on the track. Before we get to our Formula Yamaha series, let's see some of the ones to watch.
This is my local track and I've been doing a lot of practice here, getting ready for the Champions of the Future season. Obviously we've had to change from the slicks to the wets and we've made a few minor adjustments to maybe give us a little bit extra.
The first heat I wasn't well off the pace. We changed a couple of things like rear axle, seating position, and it just went really quick. Want to do well, just get on the podium, that's all I'm looking for, just keep the points topped up. But if I win, it'll be good, hopefully.
Basically, I won the first heat. Did all right in my second heat and third. Definitely am in first position because I've been quite fast today, actually.
Straight to the action then on the track here at Whilton Mill. Here's our commentator, Steve Slater.
Track conditions already getting better, but it's still pretty slippy out there, as Oliver Boxon and Nathan Richardson have their own personal Staffordshire battle for 5th and 6th places. But ahead of them are the leaders, Danny Allen, Philip Wright, Jack Anderson and James Harvey, and it's the 0 card of Danny Allen out in front, Philip Wright closing in. Then comes that battle in the pack. Nathan Richardson, Oliver Boxon, Matthew Show and Simon Walker-Hansel up to 8th place now on the number 4 cart from starting 13th. That's a good run. And then Jack Linfoot, the number 88 cart there, bringing up the rear of that group. Ahead of the order, it's still Danny Allen from Philip Wright in 2nd place. Then it's Jack Anderson in 3rd position, ahead of James Harvey. And the track conditions drying out. It's still a little bit damp. You can see the kart slipping and sliding, banging over the curbs here. And this is also a very, very bumpy course. The kart's hopping up onto 2 wheels. And we're riding with the race leader, Danny Allen. And you can see the pounding that he and the kart are taking. And right behind, Philip Wright, still there, keeping it smooth, keeping it calm. And it's very much a case on this course of picking your moment and then making the lunge for the overtaking move. Bits of debris flying up into the visor. Oh, and a great move there. That just about came from nowhere. That's Jack Anderson down the inside of Wright and up into that 2nd place. And that's exactly what I mean. You have to plot your route here and then suddenly pounce. And the man doing that to the best effect at the moment, Jack Anderson, but Philip Wright coming under all sorts of pressure from James Harvey, who gets his nose alongside but gives Wright a chance to close the door. And down the inside and into the race lead. Jack Anderson makes a great move, but going back alongside him, Danny Allen can't get the power out of the corner though. And he's now got the disadvantage of the outside line, and he is down into 2nd place. Battle still on for 3rd between Wright and Harvey as well. But out in front now, a new race leader, Jack Anderson. And as the track is drying out, maybe some people have got things set up a little bit stiffer on their karts, and they are now starting to work better. Up into 5th place, closing in Simon Walker-Hansel, the man who started 13th. He's now closing in on the tail of the pack, the man with a green crash helmet, kart number 4. Meanwhile, Harvey still trying to find his way past number 17, Philip Wright, for that 3rd place. And Walker-Hansel trying to find a way past both of them. Harvey gets through alongside now. Walker-Hansel gets squeezed out there by the number 17 car of Philip Wright. Meanwhile, race leader Jack Anderson, the man from Newbury, 13 years of age, now heading Danny Allen. James Harvey up into that 3rd place. Let's have another look at that. Harvey going down the inside there. Simon Walker-Hansel tries to make the move and follow through as well. Philip it right, doing a very good job there of keeping the door closed and keeping his fourth place. The young man from Middlesbrough in that number 4 cart is determined to find a way through and sliding down the order. Danny Allen having a very, very disappointing run now. And maybe his kart was better early in the race when the track was damp, but now it's drying out. He is definitely losing ground, slipping back to the tail end of that pack. Jack Anderson now in the lead, Harvey in second place. Walker Hansel, there we see the move coming up on the replay over Allen. Danny Allen, the original race leader there, just slides wide. There's no bite in the tyres on his kart, and there's no way he can hold off Simon Walker Hansel. Now he's struggling to hold off Nathan Richards. He's down in 4th place. Richards is in 5th, and closing in on the pair of them is also Edward Hoy. Taking a look back from the rear-facing camera yet again. Nathan Richards trying just to duck and dive, find the weak point of the kart, and then make his move, go down the inside. This could be the chance. You hear the squeal of tyres. There it is. Danny Allen just can't get the kart to turn into the corner, and there is absolutely no way he can hold off the rest of them as they start to swamp him. Trying to do a counter-attack now on Nathan Richards, but it is not going to happen. Meanwhile, heading on to the last lap of the race, Jack Anderson is extending his lead on the number 11 kart. What a great drive for this man. 13 years of age, from Newbury in Berkshire, and he is going to see his first sight of the checkered flag of this 2001 Champions of the Future season. Second place, still running hard. Simon Walker Hansel, the man from Middlesbrough, now putting the pressure on Harvey and the pack. But still Harvey in the second place at the moment. Simon Walker Hansel outside of our view, closing in on that. It's going to be a run to the checkered flag for the second place, but this man is out on his own through the final sequence of corners. He can take a breather, look over his shoulder, and now celebrate victory. The checkered flag waves for Jack Anderson. Simon Walker Hansel on the line takes second place. Confirmation that result there, James Harvey third, but it is a delighted Jack Anderson.
Jack, congratulations. That's your first podium position.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, brilliant.
Now, you had a season in Yamaha before. Do you think that all helped you?
Yeah, definitely. We had a lot of trouble with learning the tracks early on in the season. So we got a lot better, got used to the kart and the class. Brilliant.
Well, disappointment for Danny Allen in the final, but his performance in the heats and, of course, in the first round means a 33-point championship lead. But it's a delighted Jack Anderson gets the trophy. From the Yamahas, we move on to the Formula Junior Max category. And in the rain-soaked heats, it was definitely water-cooled. Adam Wright and James Klink were at the head of the field for the start of the Formula Junior Max final. Capacity grid of 22 karts, but while Adam made James work hard for his early lead, a punctured rear tyre meant a non-finish for Wright and a big blow to his championship points total. He wasn't the only one. Robert Campbell and Barry Michael also lost out after this tangle, while Nicky Mitchell was another to join Wright on the sidelines. Number 3, Darren Burke, though, survived the mayhem to take the checkered flag ahead of James Klink, with Danny Bleak third after a race of attrition. Confirmation then of the result, and relief and delight for Darren Burke on the top of the victor's podium.
Join us after the break and we'll see some racing from the Formula Cadets and the JICAs. And do you remember this guy? Welcome back to Champions of the Future from Whilton Mill in Northamptonshire. Coming up, we'll see some action from the Formula JICAs and the Cadets. Now, before the break, I asked if you remembered this guy. Well, where is he now?
I started karts when I was, 8 years old, and I've worked my way up. And my last year in sort of karts was Champions of the Future, and it's prepared me really well for moving to cars. The most significant thing that happened to me was winning the McLaren Autosport Award in '99, which has gave me the opportunity first just to go into Formula 3 the next year, and the second most of all was the opportunity to drive the McLaren Formula 1 car, which I tested that once and then we did well, so we came back and tested again, and that was the biggest turning point really in the last few years. The season at the moment is the German Formula 3 Championship, and we're doing very well in that, hopefully looking for a career in Formula 1 in the next few years, but we've got to wait and see what happens, I think.
Another graduate from Champions of the Future, Gary Paffett, definitely on the fast track to fame and fortune. Now it's time for the really fast guys in the JICAs, and here are the ones to watch.
I didn't race at PF, so I have to make up some points, but if it comes to it, I can drop that round at the end of the championship. The first 2 heats we were using wets, and that last heat we opted to go with slicks. The final, we're going to go for the slicks option.
The track yesterday was very grippy, very easy to drive, but today it's very slippy and you've got to watch what you're doing. Definitely Paul, Resta and Jordan White. I think they're the main 2 to beat.
I've only been here once before and it was only a short test. So really this is probably my first proper test. So I'm looking to do well. This morning unexpectedly it rained, so we've had to quickly find the setup for the rain. It hasn't been easy, but I think maybe later on it could be a dry final.
Last year's champion Paul Resta on pole, fellow Scot Ian Johnson alongside. The starters now unleash the 22 horsepower, 90-mile-an-hour machines. And jockeying for position is Resta into the lead. Alexander Sims up to second, ahead of Ian Johnson. It's Jordan Wise third, then James Carter. And already Carter's sliding off onto the dirt. Number 2, Rodolfo Gonzalez, Craig Dolby chasing him there, and we're riding with Craig Dolby. All sorts of jockeying for position. Oh, and heavy contact there. Oliver Oakes hits the back of Jordan Wise. Wise has his hand in the air. He's pulling off. The drive chains come off his cart. But it's Resta out in front. Then it's Ian Johnston, Alexander Sims dropping back. And it's our man Craig Dolby up to third ahead of Rodolfo Gonzalez. An absolutely superb performance. Disappointment there for Jordan Wise, though. He's not going to get a finish, nor will he get the championship points. But it's the number 2 cart now locked in battle. Gonzalez with Oliver Oakes, Alexander Sims, Robert Souster and Chris Cornell crawling all over him. 85, Oliver Oakes gets his nose alongside, and maybe Gonzalez got tied up in that melee in the opening corners because he's sliding back. Oh, so's 85 though. Oliver Oakes makes a mistake, leaves it braking too late. Gonzalez comes back through, as does Alexander Sims. And Sims is carrying our rear-facing camera, and there's the battered nose of Oliver Oakes' cart. That's the one that rode right over the back of Jordan Wise. It hasn't slowed him down any. That front bumper is really just to protect the cart. Gonzalez drops back another place there. Alexander Sims making his move up into 4th position. And he is now leading the pursuing pack that's closing in on Resta, Johnson and Dolby. There's Dolby. And a nudge on the tail of Gonzalez there from the hard-charging Oliver Oakes. Well, he's already dented that bit of his cart. He won't do any more damage. But again there, losing it on the braking. This time it's Gonzalez, number 2, loses ground again. Back down the inside comes Alexander Sims. Tremendous stuff. Look at this on the replay. A little bit of contact there on the back of Gonzalez' cart. Through goes Oliver Oakes, but he's already back under pressure. And Gonzalez drops back a place again, despite challenging hard. Robert Souster closing in. Meanwhile, at the head of the order, Paul Resta from Ian Johnston. The 2 Scots, 1-2 at the head of the field. Then it's number 31, Craig Dolby. Then come the rest of the pack. Oakes and Sims absolutely hammer and tongs together. This is the battle for 4th and 5th places. And at the moment, it's Oliver Oakes looking good, but Sims is closing in again. And the number 22 cart, Alexander Sims, really piling the pressure. Meanwhile, Gonzalez is fighting for survival down in 7th place now. Bradley Ellis Bradley Ellis goes straight through, slides a little bit wide, gives Gonzalez a chance to fight back, but the edge is gone from his cart's handling. Robert Souster, the man, closing in now as well. And 3 abreast down into the bottom corner. That is absolutely amazing stuff. 27 closes in as well. James Carter fighting back after he lost ground in that first corner melee. And battles going on all the way up and down the order. Sims and Oakes fighting for 4th and 5th. Bradley Ellis and Robert Souster fighting equally hard for 9th and 10th places. Riding in 5th place with Sims, it's up to 4th place because he manages to put one over on Oakes. And Oliver Oakes drops back down to 5th. Maybe the handling of his cart's going away, but Sims all the way across the grass there. This is a very determined drive by number 22, Alexander Sims. Still with putting the pressure on Oliver Oakes in that 85 car. What a race he has had, and it's showing the signs of it. Tyre marks on the side pods, that dented nose section on the 85 cart there really has had a hard time. But at the moment, up ahead of him, it's Alexander Sims carrying our refacing camera. And on to the last lap of the race now for the leaders. Paul Resta and Ian Johnson really in a class of their own. Craig Dolby out on his own in 3rd. And this is the battle for 8th, 9th, 10th and 11th places. And at the head of the pack at the moment, number 26, Robert Souster, going wheel to wheel with Bradley Ellis and Gonzalez, and closing in at the tail group, number 27, James Carter, trying to find a run down on the inside of the smoking Bradley Ellis. He's obviously pushed that engine right to its limits. And it's the Venezuelan Gonzalez still sliding backwards through the field. His kart just isn't handling as tidily as the rest, and he's really having a hard time here. Looks over his shoulder. He knows he hasn't got an awful lot left to keep cars away. Maybe he has a slow puncture. The kart lifts the wheel there on the way into the corners. At the head of the order, though, tremendous battle going on there between Robert Souster and Bradley Ellis. Meanwhile, heading down to the checkered flag, it's the man who's the cousin of Champ Car Race, Dario Franchitti. A little finger waved in the air there as he heads to the checkered flag. Paul de Resta takes victory for the second time in Champions of the Future this year. And the race for 4th and 5th goes down to the line. Alexander Sims holds off Oliver Oakes, and it's the same further down the back. Tremendous battle. Oh, Bradley Ellis making hard contact there with number 26, Robert Souster, who in turn makes contact with the tyre wall. He's perfectly okay, but the checkered flag's already being waved. And confirmation of that result then. De Resta and Johnson, Dolby 3rd, Sims 4th, Oakes 5th and Gornall 6th.
Well, here's a guy that's no stranger to the podium. Congratulations again, Paul de Resta.
Thanks, it was a really good race. We found a few things from PF, but it all went our way again and we've stretched a bit now, so we're getting on with the kart.
And the Scottish domination of the JICA category continues. 10 points in it between de Resta and Johnson, with Alex Sims 3rd.
Congratulations once again to Paul de Resta, Craig Dolby and Ian Johnston. So those are the quickest, oldest members of our formula. Let's join the juniors now and the cadets. These are the little guys.
Last time we came here we were testing, and we've just been really preparing the engines, the chassis, getting everything ready for this round. I love the wet. I've liked it ever since I was little, but we've had too much of it this year, so I prefer it if it was dry, but I don't mind either way.
Well, on Saturday, it was all dry, so we were testing with dry tyres. But because we haven't been here before in the wet, we're struggling a bit to get fine grip.
I've only been here once in the wet before, so I'm really doing well. When I get into the final, I just hope to get a top 3 finish, be consistent and just really, really try.
Thomas Arm on the left on the blue card, but it's pole position for 0. Daniel Rowbottom on the silver card as the carts now head across the start line. It's Rowbottom, the young man from Kidderminster, on the 0. Scott Jenkins moves up into 2nd place on number 43. Then it's Thomas Arm, Jonathan Block, James Calado, James Bradshaw and Jordan Oakes, the top 7 runners as they head down to the bottom of the hill. And it's Rowbottom at the moment, takes a very swooping line through the corner, trying to carry as much speed as possible, and it takes him out well ahead of the battle for 2nd between Scott Jenkins and Thomas Arm on number 20. And it's now number 11 because Scott Jenkins has James Calado right on his tail. And sliding back in the order there, Thomas Arm goes behind Jonathan Block in the man in black there at the middle of the pack. But at the moment, it's the battle on between Daniel Rowbottom and Scott Jenkins. 1st and 2nd places. Then number 11, James Calado, the young Worcestershire driver, closing in and maybe making his move here because Scott Jenkins is the guy who goes down the inside. And number 11 desperately trying to find his way past Daniel Rowbottom. And it may well be that Rowbottom now, I don't know whether he made a mistake or his kart isn't handling, but again he goes and takes that high and wide line to try and carry the speed into the corners. But if he has to slow down, he's in trouble. Meanwhile, across the grass goes number 20, Thomas Arm. He rejoins back down in 5th place, and that's let the top 4 now make a break away from the pack. And it's number 14, Jonathan Block, at the tail of that group, chasing James Calado, number 11. Then it's Daniel Rowbottom in 2nd place, but at the head of the order, Scott Jenkins, the youngest man in the race from Bristol. And maybe he's a little bit lighter than the others, but it's certainly working at the moment as Scott Jenkins pulling away from number 11 now, up into 2nd place, James Calado. He's found his way past Daniel Rowbottom, who's slipping back in that top 4 group at the moment. As we ride with Adam Christodoulou. Now, he started this race 11th place. He's already just past number 74 there, Matt Harmon, in 9th place. So he's up into the top 8, and he is now starting to close in on the lead group. There's a huge train of karts closing in on this top 4. Christodoulou is one of them, but there's about 5 others all vying for that position as well. Meanwhile, number 43, Scott Jenkins, still out in front, but not for long. What a move that was. James Calado springing the surprise again. Up into 2nd place, Scott Jenkins. No, it's not for very long. It's down into 3rd place for Jenkins now, because back up into 2nd comes Daniel Rowbottom. What a fight back that is. Jonathan Block right behind. Then it's number 26, James Bradshaw, and number 9, Jordan Oakes, all closing in. And number 20, Thomas Arm, also closing back on that group now. And it's all very tight at the front there, and all of a sudden Jonathan Block loses that top 4 position. He'll be frustrated with that, gets a biff from number 81 as he goes by. But Sam Bennett and Jonathan Block rejoining okay at the tail of the field. But now out in front, number 11, James Calado, still there ahead of Daniel Rowbottom. Meanwhile, number 43, Scott Jenkins, holding off Thomas Arm. And the great battles, as always, in the Formula Cadet final. And Thomas Arm, number 20, really pushing hard now, as is this man, Adam Christodoulou. He is back up ahead of 0. That's ahead of Daniel Rowbottom. Now, James Calado getting a bit of space out in front. Let's have a look at that melee down at the corner there. There you see the 0 car to Rowbottom involved in that, but the man who really lost ground there, number 14, Jonathan Block. And then as he rejoins, number 81 comes through. Sam Bennett just gives him a clip on the front wheel, but both cars still in the race. Now, a little bit of a traffic jam forming behind Daniel Rowbottom, who's managed to get back up to the top of the pack. Now, how did he do that? He's back up to 2nd place. Daniel Rowbottom with number 26, James Bradshaw, right on his tail, closely followed by number 20, Thomas Arm. And then bouncing his way through, number 9, Jordan Oakes, and number 6. That is Adam Christodoulou, who started this race in 11th place. Amazing stuff. We're riding with him, and you can see his speed down the straight. Goes past 2 of them there, Thomas Arm and Jordan Oakes. This really is some kind of a drive. Now, 0 versus 26. That's the battle for 2nd place. Oh, and it's very physical indeed out there now. Daniel Rowbottom on the 0 kart. James Bradshaw on the 26 kart. There's the race leader flashing through the screen. But this is the battle for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th places, all strung out through the S's. James Calado, though, keeping his cool, calm and collected at the head of the order. Onto the last lap of the race now. Takes a look over his shoulder. He's heading for the checkered flag. It's going to be anybody's race for 2nd place, but it's James Calado. A fine victory, 3 abreast across the line. And it's Adam Christodoulou who gets that 2nd place ahead of Rowbottom, Bradshaw and Oakes.
Boy, talk about wheel to wheel. That was some race. Congratulations, James. You had quite a commanding lead there, didn't you, towards the end?
Yeah, at the start, it wasn't really that good, and a few experienced lads came on the inside, and I got stuck.
Yeah, focus is so important when you're racing at this speed.
Yeah, it is very.
I'm a bit disappointed with 3rd, but I'm glad that I got podium finish at the end of the day, so it's good.
Well, Daniel Rowbottom may have been disappointed with 3rd, but he's still the championship leader by a single point from James Calado. It's tough at the top.
That's it for round 2 from Whilton Mill in Northamptonshire. Next week, we reach the midway point in our series when we travel to Scotland for more exciting action from Lark Hall. Join us then for Champions of the Future.
Thank you.